All right, looks like we are live. So Facebook friends, Facebook community, Facebook clients and members here at Landed for Success. Good evening. I have a very special guest, a very good friend of mine. He's actually coming all the way from Texas, Texas. And the topic we're going to talk about tonight is called A Star is Born. And when you get a chance to hear this individual speak, you're going to understand why we're going to talk about A Star is Born. Tom is the CEO of Rise Up Media. And if you've been able to see some of the work he's been able to do for myself, some of our clients, he's been able to take individuals and help them become a star. Right? And what I mean by that is if you've seen some of our marketing material, it shows some of our stories being featured in CNN News, ABC News, NBC, and so on. Well, that's the handiwork of my good friend here, Tom Chester. But not only has Tom been able to help individuals get their stories heard, get their stories and their messages out there, what I love about Tom, he's a family man, and he also loves to help people. So help me welcome my good friend, Tom Chester.
Gordon, it's always a privilege to be anywhere you're at, whether it's on a Zoom or a Facebook or in person. You're always a pleasure to be around, and I really have enjoyed the platform Landed for Success. That's been a great networking tool that I've been on already. And I really appreciate the opportunity to always be there with you and talk to people and network with people. And it's just a fun time. It's a great place for me to bring friends on board and, business partners and things like that. So thank you for providing that platform. And it is a pleasure always, and I mean always, to sit and spend some time with you. And thank you for today and tonight being able to do this. It's a blessing.
Thank you, Tom, and I appreciate you being here. Appreciate the kind words. And Tom, I want to jump right into it because I know you are very busy, and you've taken the time to be here. A Star is Born. When you were telling me the other day about the stars and the constellation about a week or 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, I need to take notes. It was so inspiring, it was so motivating, and there were so many amazing lessons. So that's when you and I talked, and I said, you got to come back and share this with our group, with our community here in Landed for Success. So I'm going to let you take over and share with us the same thing that you taught me the other day. A Star is Born.
Thank you so much. I write a lot of amazing articles about people that are really shining out in our world today. And when I look up into the heavens and I see the stars in the sky, we have a wonderful galaxy that's full of stars, so many bright stars, so many constellations. It really is amazing when you can lay back on your back in a field of grass and just look up, and you're always amazed at the skies. So, a star is born. When I look at the heavens and I see the skies, I see the stars. One star that I see constantly and consistently is called the Northern Star. It is the brightest star in the heavens. It's a shining star. When you're lost in the woods at night and you can't find your way out of a difficult situation, you look up and you can find that North Star. That North Star is the brightest star in the whole galaxy. But it's always amazing to me when I look up, and then I pay closer attention, because directly connected to the North Star is a constellation, and directly the handle of the North Star is called the Little Dipper. Wow. It looks just like the dipper on the screen that we're looking at tonight, and that's the start of the Little Dipper. And I asked myself the question, and then that leads to the Big Dipper. You see the Big Dipper on top of that, but ask yourself the question, and I've asked that constantly to people. What do you honestly think is in the Little and the Big Dipper? What is inside? What is it that makes them so bright and so beautiful and hold so much? And a lot of times people can't answer me. They don't know. Well, honestly, I think what's inside the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper is all the stars combined, all the power of the stars combined. All the ones that came together and united themselves in a unity to make up the Little and the Big Dipper, and the Little Dipper is directly connected to the North Star. So, in that situation, so think about all those stars that came together to make up that constellation and that pattern to make up the Little Dipper. And so if you look at that, you can see all the stars. But if you look at the Big Dipper, you can see all the stars. So I think that basically the Northern Star pours into the Little Dipper, if you can imagine that. Pours into the Little Dipper. Then the Little Dipper pours into the Big Dipper. And then the Big Dipper, if you notice that, automatically is turned upside down and it pours back into the North Star or back into the galaxy itself. So, once the Little Dipper fills up the Big Dipper, then the Big Dipper pours back in to the universe. And that Big Dipper is called the drinking gourd, the drinking gourd. So all the people around or all the galaxy can come to the Big Dipper and drink out of it and get restored and get light and shine bigger and brighter. Matter of fact, it looks like it's almost not only just pouring into the North Star and making it more powerful, it looks like it's pouring into the entire galaxy and making all the stars shine better.
Wow.
When you look into that, you look and see all the stars that have come together to line. I ask myself the question, and I like to ask this question: what kind of star would you be? What kind of star would you be out there? Would you be a northern star that shines and brights up the world with just one single star? Or would you actually want to come together with other stars?
That's incredible. That's a great question, Tom. Right?
And yeah. And so when you think about that, what star would you be? It is the brightest star in the universe. It's a northern star. That's where you go when you need to find direction. That's when you go when you need to find your way when you're lost, is you look to the northern star. But no people realize that that's connected. The northern star is connected to the Little Dipper, and the Little Dipper is connected to the Big Dipper, and it all pours back into the universe. So you can ask yourself a question: what star would you be? What star would you be? Will you be a shooting star, a fallen star, or a superstar? And I think that goes to say, and that also goes to say that, there's a guy that we both know. His name is Dr. James Dentley.
Yes.
And he has a saying that basically goes, shoot for the stars. And if you fall, you will have stardust in your eyes.
Wow.
So when you rise to the point of pinnacle of shining, you need to let your light shine. God has given you an instinct nature to be a light, to be a star, to be a superstar. You were born to be a star. Just what kind of star would you be? What kind of star would you shine with? Because, when you look at a rising star, it goes up. When you look from a shooting star, it comes down. Now, that shooting star is considered to be a dying star because it comes in so fast and leaves so soon that it no longer shines because it crashes down. So, the point is you need to ask yourself that question over and over again. What kind of star would I be? And I love the idea, like you and so many of my dear friends, you guys know how to come together. You know how to connect. You know how to put stars together in line to shine even bigger and brighter. You know how to contain things and how to give things back. You're kind of like the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper combined. You're the kind of star that comes together in alliance. If you look at Landed for Success, for example, I mean, that's a great example of a constellation that comes together, bringing a ton of information, a ton of help to people that are in need. So you really are landing for success, but you're landing for success to take off all over again to get to your final destination. You're
that's powerful, Tom. Because you look into this, when you look up in the sky, when we're kids and we go camping and you're like, hey mom, look at all the stars up there, right? Or you go up north to the cottage and you see all these stars, and where's the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper? And so all these stars, Tom, you've been able to help individuals in business become stars. Share with us a little bit, all these stars you're talking about out there, how does it relate to our business world? Because, sometimes we get stars in our eyes and we think we're the deal, right? We're the deal, and maybe we're not, right? Or you just talked about all these little stars coming together to make a huge constellation or a huge success.
That's the beauty of a star. A star is an individual light that has something to shine in the night. That star is put into place to do a certain purpose, but it's not left up there alone. People honestly believe from years past, and in some cultures they say that when you die, When you die, all of us you become a star in the heaven to be able to shine, to show the light to somebody else down here on earth. So you don't need to really wait till you die to shine. You need to shine where God's put you right now. And you got to realize that your star shines bright, but it's only one star in the night. When you come together and align yourself with so many other bright individuals, have so much value, it really increases the value of your star. It increases the popularity of your star, and that's where you get the brightness to shine and be who you are. So, you know, the point is that we just all really need to become the true who we are, but we need to join forces with other people to be brighter, to light the world.
That's incredible. So Tom, when there's one star up in the sky, or there's I don't know, millions of stars together, like in that constellation, how many stars in that constellation do you think?
Well, if you look at the diagram behind you, there's 8 stars in the Big Dipper. 8 stars. Now, yeah. So, but each one of those stars are aligned in a perfect pattern to form a constellation that is the Big Dipper. Let me ask you this question. What do you think would happen, Gordon, if 2 or 3 of those stars from the Big Dipper fell away and all of a sudden weren't a part of that anymore? What do you think would happen then? Or the Little Dipper, what do you think would happen if 3 or 4 stars do the same thing there?
Wouldn't be aligned anymore, right? You wouldn't have that Big Dipper or that Little Dipper if they're not aligned.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to hold with the power of inside of you anymore because you disaligned yourself. Have you ever heard of disaligning yourself and being out of line, and how miserable you are at times when you're not really lined up to your full purpose in life, or what you're looking for to become in life? And, you know, and that's the beauty of what I've actually helped form these entrepreneurs like yourself align. I mean, just think of the events that you've put on, right? And you bring all these wonderful speakers in, you bring all these people in to do what? To fill their lives full of such great experiences, such great stories, such great exposure. So if you stay in line with the plan that was handed down to you, you come bigger, better, and brighter than anything else in the universe. So I don't want to disalign myself with something that has purpose. It has, you know, what we serve and who we serve and what we're supposed to serve. You know,
it's incredible.
You know,
so Tom, let me ask you this. You're talking about alignment and purpose. And, you know, you're pretty humble about your success. So for anybody who's watching right now, you know, my friend Tom Chester is the CEO of Risa Media, and he can take an ordinary individual that needs the recognition to, you know, Tom, you're not going to say it on here, but I know some of your clients are just getting started, and some of your clients are already millionaires, and you have clients that are billionaires.
Yes.
And they all are like stars, right? So they can all shine like bright on their own. Have you actually seen like 8 stars? Because, you know, they say you can't put that many eagles in the same room. So the Big Dipper has these 8 stars that are aligned. Have you actually seen in real life like 8 stars actually aligning?
You know, absolutely. And we were at an amazing event together. And I think that's where I first met you. It was called City Summit City Gala.
Yes.
And it's an event where it happens during the Oscar nights in Burbank, California. And you've got all these superstars there, Wesley Snipes, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Demi Moore, remember? And it's a red gala that lasts for 5 days. And you come in there and rub shoulders with some of the biggest influencers, some of the biggest names in the industry. But when you walk into the room, I walk into that room and I think so much potential. And now we can all align ourselves and become one, then it becomes more and greater than. And, you know, so when I first met you, it was a funny story because you were at the table and got introduced to me by James Dentley. And you were sitting at a table with Chris Salem and some other very important people. And Gordon kind of just sat there, and I didn't know who Gordon So was. I didn't know who you were. And you're not one that jumps on the table and starts dancing like other ones that would do. You actually sit there and you absorb, and then you get brighter and brighter and brighter. And then when I got to know you better, when I got to find out who the real Gordon So is, I realized the power you are. That. Yeah, the power of you, Gordon. You're a connector. You're an influencer that just shines. And then you bring people on board that shine more. And you're not afraid the beautiful thing about you, you're not afraid. You're not afraid of those other stars. You're not actually diminished by those other stars. You know how some people, when they walk in the room, they got to be that superstar, the only.
Yeah. Like, look at me, I'm the North Star, right?
But really, if they're really connected, and they are, they don't want to
Yeah.
admit it sometimes, but they are connected. So in that room alone, when we sat at that table and I got introduced to you, you know, there was a bunch of superstars at that table, and they were all there to promote what they're doing. You know, it was all there for the
Yes.
purpose of basically getting exposure for what they do.
Yeah, that's incredible, Tom, because I remember, you know, when you talk about the City Summit City Gala, because you just finished talking about, you got the Big Dipper, you've got 8 stars aligned, right? And I remember, you know, you were there. Dr. James Dentley was there. There's 2. Les Brown was there. There's 3. Frank Shankwich, who started the Make-A-Wish Foundation, that's 4. Alex Stern, 5. John Shin, right? 6. Wesley Snipes, 7. And his bodyguards just let him walk around like he was so friendly. He stayed there till 1 a.m. He was the last guy to leave, right? So humble and approachable. And then let's say Colin Farrell.
Yep.
There's so many amazing like people, like you said, that could have said, I'm such a superstar that don't come near me, right? Because you're gonna steal my shine.
Right.
But none of those individuals like yourself did that. So I love that. So being a star, Tom, you know, you talked about a dying star, right? And I know not only can you actually help individual with their PR and be seen in like 300 the article you did, how many
major media networks,
media outlets, you know, that people found me on, and your clients. What about individuals who was a star in their business and their lights are starting to dim out? How do you help somebody like that in your business?
It's very important because sometimes people get out of their lane. Sometimes people lose the direction they were in and have to find a new direction, a new path. And so it's all a whole new world for them. And you look at that as a dying star. You know, when you look at COVID right now, so many people have had to realign themselves. So many people have had to adjust. So many businesses have closed up shop. Some people have had to learn how to get their message out a different way. We were in some amazing events, but you couldn't have those during COVID.
Right.
So how did those people shine? How did they get their luster back? Well, they had to improvise. They had to change. And one of the things, I was busier than all get out this last year. I couldn't hardly even breathe because they came to me because they said, you know what, Tom, we need to get our story out here a different way. We need to get our story out here that we're doing something different to change the world. And they revamped, they restructured, they re-engineered, you know, they reconditioned themselves to shine a different way.
Wow.
It didn't take away from their stardom because their stardom has been there all along.
Yes.
But it took away from how they shine or who they shine to. And so by helping businesses, you know, I just don't help the millionaires and the billionaires. I help clients. I just started a client over here in San Antonio, Texas, which is a franchise for a learning facility called Learning RX. There's 2 locations. The second location has not been getting enough attention. So they want to get more attention. So I now have wrote an article. This is Autism Month, right?
Yes.
So I wrote the article about how this cognitive training center, okay, is helping with autism. Wow. And now, you know, that gets them the exposure that they're looking for. And so it's all really about your story because your story matters.
Yes.
Your star matters. Wow. Your star matters. So don't give up when things get dark in the night. Just learn how to shine a little bit bright. You know, that's where, you know, you come in. You're the one of my favorite people in all the world with nursery rhymes. I mean, you say so much elegant stuff that it just dazzles my mind. So can you give me any nursery rhyme that would?
Yeah, you know, now that I have 2 baby grandchildren, right? My baby granddaughter, grandson, all under 1. One of my favorite nursery rhymes was like, twinkle, twinkle, little star, right? How I wonder where you are, right? Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky, right? Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. And you mentioned a good friend, Dr. James Dentley, and I remember when he used to always quote poems, and I didn't know why. He says, Gordon, when we were younger, our parents, right? How many of us remember our mom and dads reading nursery rhymes to us? And there's there's that comfort, right? When you hear those nursery rhymes. And then as I watched him speak, right, he's such a master using poems. Like, if it's okay with you, you're talking about like purpose and the North Star and finding your way. One of my favorite poems is "Follow Your Dreams, wherever it leads." Right? Don't be distracted by less worthy needs. Shelter it, nourish it, help it to grow. Let your heart hold it down deep where dreams go. So follow your dreams and pursue it with haste, because life is too precious, too fleeting to waste. So be faithful, be loyal, and all your life through, the dreams that you follow will keep coming true. It's one of my favorite poems.
Absolutely. And that really is like the North Star. You know what I mean? You got to keep dreaming. You got to keep shining. You got to keep getting out there. You got to do whatever you need to do, because God put in you that little light. And there's that old Christian song, "This little light of mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine," right?
Yeah.
Love it.
So, what you are, and, that's what you were intended to be. But people want to hide their light and their star in the night under a bushel, because they're scared that if they light up, they're going to intimidate others. Don't feel like that you don't matter. Don't feel like that what God created you to be, and I'll get a little churchy here with you. God intended you to be great and greater than. And if you understand the concept that what he pours into you is meant to shine, he doesn't want you to hide it. He doesn't want you to put it under a bushel. He wants you to let it shine. And if you don't let that shine, you're not doing others a service, because really, when you look up in the galaxy behind us, you see so many beautiful stars, but that's what makes up our universe. And that's every one of those. Now, if you think that millions and billions of stars in the night are the things that light up your night, you're absolutely right. It isn't just the Northern Star. It's just not the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper. It's your star, your star. And I tell businesses all the time, that come to me, well, how can we help you make you shine?
Wow.
And
can you give me an example, Tom, of maybe a business that would come to you and say, help make me shine?
Well, I have a client right now, which is basically, I'll give you a couple of them. One right now who is Fusematic. Fusematic is a rotary friction welding system that doesn't use flame. So you can literally use it underwater. So the Navy needs it, oil fields need it, because it won't cause an explosion. Okay, but it's been a process that's been around for a while, and it's been used, but they never have been able to get their story out there. They haven't been able to frame their story in order for other people to take notice. So when they go out there and they talk to clients and things like that, they ask them, who are you? And I know other people that kind of do what you do, but I never heard about you. So what I've done is I've wrote the articles that's been able to get them the attention they deserve, to even be able to raise money for what they do, in order to where they can say, hey, look at all this publicity that all these major media networks, in less than 24 hours, I'm 10 pages deep on Google. So if Google says I'm somebody and media says I'm somebody, I got to be somebody.
I love it. I am somebody.
You are somebody. Everybody is somebody. Somebody that you can love, somebody you can look up to. You can't disvalue or devalue or discredit any person on this planet.
I love that, Tom. I'm working on a book called "Every Somebody Was Once a Nobody."
Ooh, I love
Every
that.
somebody was once a nobody. Like, think of all the stars that we know, right? Like, let's say Oprah Winfrey, right? Every somebody today was once a nobody. So when somebody says to me, like, hey, Gordon, you're a nobody, and they say, bring it on, buddy, because every somebody was once a nobody. Sorry,
that's because nobody saw Gordon So for who Gordon So really is. Nobody looks at Gordon So and says, wow, he's a superstar, because Gordon's not out there blowing his own horn and saying, I'm a star, I'm a star, I'm a star. No, what you do is you light up everybody else's life by adding value to so many people.
Mm,
But, you know,
thank you.
if you really look at it, I can take and make you that superstar. I
Yes.
can make you shine like you never shined before, only because people, you know, you're not what, and I tell you this all the time, and we talk about it, you're not what you say you are, right?
Mm,
You are what other people say you
say
are.
you are. Wow.
And when you think about the long lines, but I'm going to tell you another story. You're bigger than that. You're greater than that, because Jesus Christ said, greater is he that is in me than he is in the world. And then he went on to his
Right.
disciples and said, greater things than this shall you do. I mean,
Wow.
this is the man that walked on water. This is the man that healed the lame and the blind and raised the dead. This is the man that did miracles. But every miracle that Jesus Christ did, he needed human involvement.
Wow.
He needed somebody else to fetch the pots, to make the wine out of the water, or to lift up the person into the well. Jesus Christ needed people to tear the roof off to get to a lame man. What you got to look at yourself is, what kind of influencer are you?
Mm,
And what kind of influencer do you want to be? But bigger than all that is, what kind of difference do you really want to make?
wow. That's incredible, Tom. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Tom, thank you so much. You know, and before I let you go, thank you so much for letting us know that we all can shine, right? And we need to shine. And so I want to kind of put you on the spot, if that's okay, just to give the folks an idea of how quick you are on your feet. And that's why your clients like are, I don't even know what the word is, but it's so diverse. Like the types of clients, like verticals, the different industries. You mentioned autism earlier. So I'm gonna throw an idea at you, and I want to see, what would you do? Like if you could help bring something like this and turn it into a star, what would you do? So someone I know just wrote a book. Now I know in Dallas, you guys be talking about the Dallas Cowboys, right?
Yeah, they're a small little team there.
Small little team, right?
Barely been recognized,
Like,
never heard of.
like
Yeah.
Emmitt Smith, right?
Right.
But so Dallas, now there is a little team called the Dallas Stars, which is a hockey team,
Right. Yes.
right? So when I talk about hockey, most of my friends in the US like, what? Never heard of hockey. So a young individual that I know while she was in school wrote a little essay for school that I would like to turn into a book. And this little book has to do with a little 9 or 10-year-old who has autism,
Right.
but wanted to play sports, wanted to play hockey,
Oh, wow.
but couldn't play like the way some of these other kids could, who are like, superstars as hockey players.
Right.
And it was just, the story is just incredible. It's a heartwarming story of this young fella who has autism, who had to go to his first practice, organized practice,
Right.
with other boys who had been playing hockey pretty well all their lives. And then the story goes on to how he was first picked on, and then what was the commonality that brought the players and the entire team together. And yeah, so I can't tell you the whole story because I don't want to give the story away. But
Yeah, you don't want to do that yet, but I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing, what they can do. I just left an event in Lubbock, Texas, with a good friend who was a high school friend back when I was a lot younger. And
Yes.
his name is Dan Dwayne Spencer. And Dan wrote a trilogy of 3 novels, and it's basically the apocalypse and how that 3 average people that thought they didn't have any power, right, were selected. And if it wasn't for them, our world would have come in complete, total devastation in 1969. But they came together, and they didn't realize they all had superpowers or gifts of the spirit, and could be able to be mentored into, shaped into help to destroy the plan of the devil or the enemy and that kind of deal. So I wrote the book, I wrote the article on it, and it's called Amber is the first book. And I just got through promoting it. I was over there at the launch. I did my superhero deal with the capes. I did all of the fun things, But, the story, this author is not only a fiction author, but he's a children's book author and writes murder mysteries and is very popular. But, you know, for him to take on this venture, it was outside of what I would have considered his will well.
Mm.
But it's such a great book. It's going to be, it's like Avatar. Have you ever seen the movie Avatar?
Yeah.
And the girl has red eyes and, you know, and kind of, you know, so that's why she's named Amber. But Amber is a group of 3 teenagers that came together to unite their powers in order to save the world. And if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't be here now, because that was in 1969. So when you look at somebody like that, just like a person with autism or anything, you know, Gordon, if you really look at every one of us, we're not perfect. We're not created to be perfect. We're flawed. We're beautifully and wonderfully made, but we're made distinct to serve a purpose. That doesn't mean that if you have autism or Down syndrome or you any kind of handicap, that just makes you a whole different person.
Yes.
And there's so many. Think of Joni Erickson, the lady that had to paint with her mouth, you know, and the brush. Think of all the people that have had to come through that. To me, that little child that you're talking about that would get on the court and inspire others to play a better game would be worth more value than the greatest player on the team.
Wow.
Do you remember the basketball team in high school? They had this little boy that had Down syndrome, and he would come out there and he'd play. He never got put into the game. So he served as water boy and got the towels and did all the little stuff that was important to the team, you know, and that kind of deal. Well, did you know when he was about ready to graduate, they ended up and put him in the game?
Wow.
They suited him up. He got out there and he's on the floor. Can you only imagine that all of a sudden you would think the opposing team would take advantage of that? That, oh man, we got a weak player here. Let's go ahead and go around this guy. We can do some layups. We can do some shots. We can make some hoops. We can rack up the score. Do you know what that other team did? Did you read that story?
Yes, I think there's a video too.
Yeah, there's a video.
Yes.
They all got together. He got the ball. He's going in, okay? And this is for the winning shot. The whole game was online. This was a championship game. And the little boy got the ball. And every one of those players from both sides of the team assisted him to go make that shot.
Wow.
Now, what does that tell you about human nature? We compete against other, but really we're better suited to help each other.
Yeah.
We're better suited to join with other people that can help things be better. That's what this universe is all about.
Yes.
That's where, you know, we, the United States of America, when you look at us, we're one country, one nation under God, you know, liberty and justice for all. And don't lose sight of who you are. And I know you're from Canada, you know, and
we're cousins.
Yeah, we are. We're kissing cousins. Very kissing cousins, you know, and you think about the loyalty of the people that come together to make something great happen.
Yes.
And that's the kind of people I reach out to, because, you know, number one, you know, I only deal with people that have a story that can make things better for everybody. Yeah. I don't deal with the egos.
Yes.
I don't deal with the people thinking, hey, man, I'm the only one out here. It's all about me, because it really isn't all about me.
Yeah.
It's all about us working together. It's all about us.
The story that you just shared, Tom, if we can all as grown-ups learn from these kids, right? How winning wasn't everything. And just wasn't everything. And lifting this young man up, right? And allowing him to score that basket where even their own team lost, gave them so much joy just to see that this young man, right, could actually go out there and have his moment in time. And I think that's with all these stars you were talking about, right? So sometimes, like, you know, I want my star to shine brighter than your star. And no.
You know, my star is meant to make other stars shine brighter.
Right. Yeah. And
my
that's what you
purpose
do.
in life is to make you look better. Yeah. My purpose in life is not to edify me, but to edify you.
Yes.
So because if I edify you, I'm going to get edified myself.
Yes.
I don't need to worry about an ego all I got to do is make somebody suit the purpose which they were intended to be. And that's really all it is for me. That's what gets me up in the morning. I mean, you know me, you know my heart, you know me.
Yes.
And we say this all the time. My number one prayer, and if I could say that here again, is
Yes.
Lord, lay somebody on my heart and love
Yes.
that soul through me, and let me do my part to win that soul to thee.
Wow.
And every day I wake up, there's always God put somebody else in my path, and it's so amazing. And you know,
Yes.
and you just look around you today, and that's what I love about what you do, and I love about, you know, Landed for Success.
Yes.
So many people are jumping on that platform right now.
Yeah.
Some of
Yes.
my clients signed up, paid the $100,
Yes.
which is
Thank you.
nothing. And I got more of this. Say, yeah, that's crazy. Let's do this. And
Yes.
they're going to be on your show. And
Yes.
I want these people to shine. And you and I are just the people that can help them do that.
Yeah.
So we're kindred spirits in what we do to help other people grow and become what they're supposed to be. And
That's amazing.
we just shine them up. We just shine them up until the
Shine
genie.
them up.
Shine them up like Aladdin's lamp. Shine them up till the genie comes out.
Yes. And you're so amazing at that. You know, Tom, when I had my Business Wow Summit and you did that article, we literally had someone from Africa that showed up to Toronto for the Business Wow Summit. So my question for you is, you know, PR, everyone says, yeah, but you know, I can do a PR piece for you. Let me do it. I can do a PR piece for you. So for the skeptics out there, what's the difference when you write an article when someone says, I can do it for you?
You know,
because I've been there. I've hired people to do PR pieces and got nothing out of it.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. The craziest thing, when you say that I do press releases, you're almost like calling me the janitor. It's like almost an insult if you really want to know, because people say, oh, you write press releases. I can get a press release. I can do this. Well, no, you have to write a media-worthy story that Google wants and is starving for.
I like that. Media-worthy story. Wow.
That article has to be a certain length, a certain depth. It has to be aligned to what Google is looking for and what all the media networks are wanting. Did you know that Google and all these major media networks are starving for good content?
Wow.
You know, they're so used to finding junk and the negative. The negative's easy to find. But, you know, really about the good news. It's really about the good news. It's about the good things that are going on in our world today that's helping people survive and thrive, that's making our country and our world so great. So that's really what they're looking for. So my expertise, if you really want to know that, is I'm an authority branding and positioning agency that helps people get identified on major media networks. But the key to the success is that third-party validation, that third-party recognition, because you're not who you say you are what others say you are. And all of a sudden, if that article goes out there and get indexed on Google, and it's on all these major media networks, and they link it into their website, and then they share it back to Google. Now there's hundreds of links. Then all of a sudden, you are who you say you are.
And I saw that, Tom, when you did our article. I remember, wow, another article just popped out on ABC News, or all these stations. I remember seeing stuff in Hawaii. I go, what?
We went to Hawaii. We went to Alaska.
Yeah.
It went worldwide. Trendsetters, which became global. It went all over the world, and that's how people see it. But you know, that's about but you know, the thing that makes my job so easy, to be honest with you, it's not. It's basically the content. I mean, you have great content. I only write about people that are great in the situation. Don't take it wrong, but people that have enough power, and that's what they're starving for. So when my editors get what I send them, they're like, "Oh wow, here's another article from Tom Chester." Well, no, it's an article about not about Tom Chester. It's about the people I write for, and by doing that, I'm providing them great content. So if I write the article like your article, it didn't take 24 to 36 to 72 hours to get picked
No.
up. It was actually picked up in about 2 hours.
In 2 hours, yeah.
2 hours. And within 8 hours and the next day, you can honestly see. And then when you got the distribution report and it's all the networks that picked it up, and then you looked how many times it's been indexed on Google, man, it's wow.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So how do you want to stand out is how do you want to stand out in the crowd? How do you want to be recognized? And so many people are doing so many great things. Think it for a minute. How many awards, Gordon? I mean, you used to work for a major company, and I know you did a good job. How many awards do you think you won over your lifetime?
A lot. A lot. Yeah.
Did you get recognized for everything you did?
No.
You know, when you win an award, say you're a real estate agent, you know, and you win an award for like Remax. I don't know if you guys Remax.
Yeah, I remember that. I was in the 100% club.
Yeah.
Right. So I still remember, Tom. This sounds really silly. I brag about being in the top 5% of Remax International. There was 20,000 agents that year.
Yeah.
This is a while back. There's more now. And I was literally 999 in North America out of 20,000 agents.
So what if
I got a trophy, but that was it.
Yeah. When I went in, I worked for General Telephone Directory Company when I first started in the advertising industry. And within a year, I decided, well, I'm gonna switch on over to Southwestern Bell. I hear they're better. And I took a whole box of my awards, my trophies, my plaques, my certificates, and I put them in a box, just a cardboard box. I walked in the office with Southwestern Bell, Yellow Pages, and they wanted to know, well, who are you and what do you do and what? And I set the box on the table.
Yes.
And they started going through. You know what the funny thing is? They started going through the trophies. They set them out on their desk. They looked at the Rookie of the Year award. They looked at the achievements, and they looked at the ranking. They looked at all that. And did you know what they said to me? They didn't even. After that, they said, "You're hired."
Wow.
If you can do that for them, you can do that for us. But you don't get recognized for that. So what if, Gordon, you had won that great big trophy? And what about the article about how you won that trophy and you're a #1 star producer in the 5% of your company for your region, for your area, and you had got that major attention? Now, who do you think everybody would be calling on?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because you stood out.
That's amazing.
And it's all because of somebody told your story and made it shine and made it get the exposure and the impressions and respect. It's about respect of what you do. It really is. That's amazing. You just got to let you shine. You just got to let me. Now, if you had me back then, man, just think of what you could have been.
Yeah, that's amazing, Tom.
Wow.
Superstar. So once again, folks, if you guys are watching, this is my good friend, Tom Chester. He handles all our PR, my clients, and that needs PR. I'm like, talk to Tom, that's it. And like even today, right, Tom, I had someone who's, they're looking at raising $3 to $4 million to try to come up with a new, is a new drug, is that the right word? To help, save the lives of young babies that have.
You froze up, stuck in. Yeah, I actually, if you can still hear me, I actually, right after you sent me his message, I actually contacted him and we had a great Zoom call. And he told me about what his goal was and what he wanted to do with that. And so I gave him a couple of key tips that actually would help him. And I look forward to seeing that flourish and help his son and be able to raise the rest of the money that they need. So Gordon, I lost you. You're frozen time. Oh, my good friend Gordon is now gone. So we're still live. This is Tom Chester, and my good friend Gordon has just split the atmosphere. He left the universe. His star shines so bright, he's zoomed into the night. So, I'd really appreciate the opportunity to be here live on Facebook with you, but also be on a Zoom call with so many great people. So I appreciate this time so very much. And right now I'm going to have to step off and go make somebody else shine. So let this little light of mine shine and shine and shine and shine. And you know, don't let nobody snuff it out, because you're made to shine. This is Tom Chesser signing out for now. Thank you so much.